Hi, I'm Emily. Welcome to today's Hot and Spicy. Today I'm back in the gym, but after my last experience, I'm going to focus more on muscle building. They currently look pathetic, but I've got a secret recipe up my sleeve that actually comes in the form of today's hot and spicy dish, lentil moudardara. Lentils are made of lots of essential proteins, which are perfect for building muscle mass. So hopefully, next time you see me, I'll have gone to looking like this, to looking like this. Wish me luck, everybody. Enjoy the show. I'm back today with the Lentil Ladies, Claude and Maria. Now, they're actually known as the Lentil Ladies because of a fabulous cookbook they've just released, quite obviously on lentils. And today we're going to be making a recipe from that cookbook. So, do you want to tell us, ladies, what you're making for me today?
Yes, it's a Lebanese recipe, rice and lentils.
And it's a moudardara.
Moudardara is a summer dish that originally comes from the Mediterranean. It tastes great served with lemony salad and can also be served with sliced fried onions for an extra kick.
And it's called moudardara because in Arabic it's something that is like scattered. And so the lentil and the rice will come quite fluffy and quite separate. And then you eat it with caramelized onions and maybe a little bit of yogurt or a salad. It's a delicious sort of room temperature dish, which keeps very well for the next day.
If you wish to make moudardara yourself, you will need 300 grams of brown lentils, 150 grams of basmati rice, 1 litre of water, 1 teaspoon of cumin, half a teaspoon of black pepper, half a teaspoon of allspice, 2 medium onions, 6 tablespoons of olive oil, and 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil.
So now we're going to chop some onions to go as the base in these will have to be caramelized onions, which means that they need to be cooked with the olive oil for quite some time until they brown. And it's very important to have them brown because they're not only just going to give taste, but they're also going to give color to the rice as we add it with the lentils. It's one of my, I don't know, Maria, do you like this dish? I think it's...
I do because I find it that the combination with rice and lentils is a very good marriage. I mean, it's in terms of consistency also.
I mean, this must be great if you're Christian, because a lot of people in Lebanon are Christian, I've heard as well.
That's right.
And you don't eat meat on Fridays, so
yes, that's right.
It's a good dish for you then.
Yeah, it's good for Lent and for fast days, and people are quite observant in a way, so it suits. And also it's very nice in the summer. I like it for lunchtime in the summer. And I'm going to fry the onions now. And so I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil and fry the onions until they are quite brown.
So how long would this take?
It can take about 8 to 10 minutes or less. But,
is it possible to actually burn them?
It is possible to burn them, but it really wouldn't matter that much. It depends on how much burning we're talking about. If it's just a slight burn, it really doesn't matter. And I'm using here these lovely brown lentils. I've washed them, I've rinsed them and strained them. And you can use the flat green lentils, but I like the brown ones.
How do they differ from the green lentils then? Do they have a different kind of taste?
These are nuttier, and they're slightly sweeter than the green lentils. Also, they have a different texture. They're creamier once they're cooked. The green lentils tend to have a sort of tough outer part, which I find works really well if you're going to blend it or if you're going to make a soup. But if you're going to make, a moudardara, which is you need your lentils whole to go with the rice, then really ideally you should be using brown lentils. I'm just keeping an eye on this. I'm using basmati rice. Although traditionally in Lebanon we would use short grain rice, I find that basmati holds has a sort of aristocratic quality about it. It's the best rice if you want to do a pilau rice. I mean, we're not talking about making a risotto where you want starch. You want something that is fluffy and light.
So by pilau you mean something that's cooked more,
that has absorbed enough water while retaining its shape. It's a very simple dish, really. It's a peasant dish. It's something you find in the mountains, and it's a poor man's dish. But it's one of the most prized dishes in Lebanon. Everybody loves it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this to the pot where I'll be cooking the lentils. So you see this lovely color. Now I'm going to add the washed and rinsed lentils to the onions, which have browned. And then I'm going to add the spices.
So what spices are we using today?
So we're using, of course, cumin, because cumin is brilliant with lentils.
And it aids the digestion.
It aids the digestion. Using black pepper, and we're using allspice. A little bit of allspice. And we give it a stir, bring it back to the boil, and then we reduce the heat and leave it to cook. So we're going to wait, in 20 minutes time we're going to add the rice and then leave it cook another 20 minutes, and then it'll be ready to serve.
Wow.
Right, so now the my lentils have started boiling. I'm going to reduce the heat and leave it to cook for about 20 minutes before I can add the rice. I'm going to put it on the back burner so that we can now prepare the caramelized onions. Right, now I'm going to add some oil to my hot pan.
What kind of oil is that?
It's olive oil. I always work with olive oil. And I'm going to caramelize these onions, which we're then going to put on kitchen paper so that it absorbs the extra oil, and we leave it until we're ready to use it to garnish the lentils with.
Lovely.
Yeah. So you have to make sure that your oil is really hot, seriously hot, before you add the onions, and it will happen very quickly. Then you reduce the heat once the onions are in, so you don't actually burn them. You want them caramelized but not burned. And you add, you see, you want to separate them.
It's starting to sizzle now.
And it started to sizzle.
So when it gets really extreme, that's when you turn the heat down.
Yeah, so that you take the time to actually cook them.
And obviously it's going to take 40 minutes, but then you just prepare little bits, put it in the pan, put one thing in the middle, the rice in the middle, and then
that's it, and it cooks itself. Now the important thing, of course, with this dish is not to overcook it. You may, if somebody's never cooked this dish before, may get it wrong the first time, but it's not going to take forever for you to realize how long you actually need before you can add the rice and leave it to cook. But always bear in mind, and I repeat this, it really depends on the type of lentil that you have. But if you have good fresh lentils, it shouldn't take more than 40 minutes to cook. The other thing to remember when you're caramelizing onions is not to overcrowd the pan. You need to give it space so that each little piece gets its own time in. You see, it's suddenly gone brownish. Don't be scared, wait a bit.
How many onions would you say would cause that overcrowding?
Oh, for a pan like this, I think if you have more than 3 onions is too much. So an average size pan, start with 1 and see how you get on with it. But that's the... And then leave them separated so that they remain crispy. And another little thing which I'm going to do here is I'm going to toast a few pine nuts to add also, just for taste and garnish, which is lovely. They will, and there's enough oil there left to do this in.
Using the same oil as the onions, does that add extra flavour?
It adds
Yeah.
flavour, yeah. And now I'm going to add the rice, now that the lentils are sort of halfway through their cooking time.
20 minutes.
If you're unsure, always about whether it's the right time or not, I always pick up one lentil and I chew it and I think, yes, it's still crunchy and it's not cooked. Not quite cooked through, but I can crunch it. So that I know that this is the time to add the rice.
How would you be able to tell if it wasn't far along enough?
Because then you can't cook, you can't bite through it. It'll stop, there will be like a pip inside when it's hard. I mean, there's another thing also about lentils is people often ask us if we should soak lentils. Some people like to soak lentils, don't they? Because they think it's more better for their digestion. If you do soak lentils and you soak them for an hour or two, they don't need overnight soaking, then you need to reduce the cooking time by half. You can't soak them and then cook them for 40 minutes. They'll be mushy. So what we'll do is I've added the rice and I've stirred it, and I'm just going to leave it on medium to low heat for another, say, 15-20 minutes until the rice comes out.
And by that point, what consistency should the lentils be at?
Then at that point the lentils will be cooked through but whole. They're still round and lovely and separate, but no longer crunchy. Right, now my lentils are cooked and so is the rice. We are going to serve them and we are going to see if they are as separated as I'd like them to be.
You cook them for the right amount of time?
So I'm supposed to have cooked them for the right amount of time, so now we hope. The thing is, when you're fluffing your lentils and rice, you should really always fluff it with a fork, not with a spoon, because otherwise it will they clump together and it will change that texture. You want to keep these to be like that, sort of quite separated and beautiful. And do you know what I mean? The rice has gone a nice brown color, which is because of the onions that we've added at the beginning. All right, so we're going to serve this in this lovely earthenware pot, which, as I said earlier, it's a poor man's dish. So we'll serve it in something that you find very rarely in Lebanon now, because it's all handmade. And it used to be made in a village, and there was only one woman who was left making them. And she used to have a little kiln and then do her own things. I don't know if she's still there, so it's
funny how roles are reversed, isn't it? So that was a poor man's dish before, now it's probably much more expensive than typical kind of plastic plate.
I know,
yeah.
But it's also, and you can fry, you can cook in it. So, do you see the texture, the way they...
That's perfect.
Now I'd like you to try this onion.
Okay.
You see, it still has that sort of crispiness. There,
very nice.
So we're going to scatter the onions over. And the kitchen paper has absorbed the excess oil. And then we garnish it with some of these pine nuts. And then it's ready for you to taste.
It looks beautiful. If you wish to make moudardara yourself, you will need 300 grams of brown lentils, 150 grams of basmati rice, 1 litre of water, 1 teaspoon of cumin, half a teaspoon of black pepper, half a teaspoon of allspice, 2 medium onions, 6 tablespoons of olive oil, and 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil.
How about you try some, Maria?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Should I go first?
Yes.
I'm going to be honest. I'm waiting for this.
And you can leave it and eat it at room temperature. You don't have to eat it, warm.
Another messy one.
I can see that you've lost your tongues, both of you.
It's like I'm indigesting
Delicious.
it. It's lovely, it really is lovely. It doesn't taste like just rice and lentils. It tastes like so much more.
It has so much more, you're right, yeah. It's the spices, the flavours of the onions cooked. But I hope you enjoyed it.
I did, it was delicious. This dish is full of essential proteins, complex carbohydrates and potassium. Protein is exceptionally important in building muscle mass, so if you're a gym fanatic, lentil moudardara is the perfect dish for you. Thank you, Claude, and thank you very much, Maria, as well.
Pleasure.
That's all from the Lentil Ladies and me today, so please stay tuned to see more from Hot and Spicy. For details of the dish and for all the ingredients used, please see levant.tv. Also, please like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Hot and Spicy TV show. So until next time, please be sure to keep it hot and spicy.